The Michigan Wolverines and the Nebraska Cornhuskers are replacing some dominance on the defensive line. And that's what I have my eyes on entering spring practice as big storylines for the Wolverines and the Cornhuskers right now. For Michigan, look, no matter how good Damon Payne, Trey Pierce, Rayshon Benny, Trey Williams, no matter how good any of those guys play, they are not going to be Kenneth Grant, and they are not going to be Mason Graham. These are first-round NFL draft picks at very valuable positions. It's going to be one of the best, maybe the best defensive tackle combination we've seen in the Big Ten and will see in the Big Ten Conference for some time. But I think the key in spring ball, coming out of spring ball for Sharon Moore and the Wolverines is, you were at elite in what you had, like I just said, with Graham and Grant. You don't want to just duck down to above average. You want to still be able to, you don't want to take a drastic dip down, I guess is what I'm trying to say, certainly right now. And I want to be clear, I do not think that they're going to take a drastic drop down. I think there's going to be good players within that group, but certainly not players that were at the level of a Mason Graham and a Kenneth Grant. So, Wink Martindale and this defense during spring practice, they're going to see what they have on the defensive line over there as well, and just see how much depth there is on the defensive line as well. And I think that what this is going to do, I think it's going to make other parts of this defense really step up. And I think other parts of this Michigan defense will step up. I really like Wink Martindale's defense for 2025. You've got your two leading tacklers returning, Jayshon Barham and Ernest Hausman at the linebacker positions. You look at the defensive backfield, Rod Moore, that locker room leader, returning from an injury. Jair Hill, Zeke Berry, Jaden McBurrows, I think, are going to take another step forward, or I'm going to look for them to start to take that step forward during spring practice here for the Michigan Wolverines. So I think that they won't be able to lean as much on those defensive tackles, wreaking havoc up there in the middle, maybe like they did in the past 2 years. So I think it's going to come down to the rest of the defense to really step up and be a more complete unit. I think this is going to be a pretty good complete unit for Michigan. Really looking forward to seeing what they can do from a defensive standpoint during spring football. Bryce Underwood, that was just too easy. That was low-hanging fruit. Had to go with something a little bit more challenging for myself. You look at this thing for Nebraska. I talk about how maybe I'm confident that Michigan's going to go from elite to really good at the defensive tackle spot. I've got a little bit more concern right now with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Losing Nash Hutmacher and losing Ty Robinson. Don't forget, coming off the edge, you also lose guys like a James Williams and a Jamari Butler as well, transferring to Southern schools. Now, when you look at the defensive tackle spot, it appears that a guy like Elijah Judy is a top candidate to maybe fill into that role, and you're going to lose some girth. You're going to lose some Big Ten beef, I think, no matter what direction you go. Like both Robinson and Hutmacher, easy for me to say, were 300 to 310-pound guys. Big Ten, beefy, corn-fed, Nebraska type of guys up front in that defensive line. Elijah Judy, 6'3", 285 pounds. Riley Van Poppel, 6'5", 290. There's some transfers coming in. None of those guys are over 280 pounds, so there's a little bit lacking in size right now at the defensive tackle position for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. But that being said, I feel better about the defensive end spot than the defensive tackle spot right now for Nebraska. Williams Nwaneri, the former 5-star recruit from Missouri, he transfers in. Cameron Lenhart, really good recruit, 4-star from a couple of years back. He certainly got on the field a good amount. I think that this could be a year, if he can stay healthy, that he could really break out. He could really start to wreak some havoc, certainly coming off the edge as well. But if you don't have the size in the middle like they did in previous years at Nebraska, maybe there's some offensive lines out there in the Big Ten that could have some success running the football. You go to the linebacker group. There's a lot coming back in the secondary group for Nebraska, but up front, there was a lot. They had a lot of departing players at the defensive line and these outside linebacker and edge types of spots. That's a big storyline to watch, to see just what they have in spring practice right now. It's going to be a big evaluation period, I think, for this staff. And then they're going to have to look for, in the spring transfer portal period, if there's going to be some guys that they're going to go after to try to fill some of these spots to get bigger and beefier on the defensive line.